Also, we are recording this session. So again, another reason if you might want to switch your cameras off, this session is being recorded just for future use and future dissemination. And also then Mary, as I mentioned already, Mary's on the call. She's going to be helping us out with some of the technical issues and details, and she'll also be contacting everybody after the webinar, sending on the presentation slides from today and getting some feedback from you. So that's just our normal webinar etiquette. I think we have everybody in the room, Mary, so I think we're good to go.
Yeah.
So just the agenda today, really the aim of today is to introduce everybody to who we are in Three Counties Energy Agency, 3CEA, and really the aim today is to go through the Community Energy Grants Programme, the SEAI's Community Energy Grants Programme that we've been working with various communities and beneficiaries over the last 8 or 9 years. We expect the launch of the 2022 programme in the next few weeks or a month or two. So we're just getting ahead of the game and preparing for the applications that we expect to launch. So today is really just to outline what's involved and what you might need to do. Anybody who's interested in getting involved in those grant programs should hopefully by the end of today know everything that is required. So just a quick introduction to who we are in the Energy Agency. So we're the local or regional energy agency for the Southeast. We work in partnership with the 4 local authorities in the Southeast: Carlow, Kilkenny, Wexford and Waterford. We're a not-for-profit and independent energy agency, and our aim really is to help everybody across the Southeast to save energy, reduce energy and reduce their carbon emissions. So that's every energy user, so that's you and me. We all use energy, so we're here to assist you all. Just to give you a little bit of our experience in terms of the grant programs, and this is just a slide 2015 to 2019, so the 5-year period there of the applications that we have completed in the past through the SEAI grant program. So you can see there was about, just the summary really, 644 houses retrofitted and 235 what we call other projects or non-domestic projects across all of the other sectors, so transport, agriculture, SMEs, community buildings, etc. Those are what we call non-domestic or other projects. So we completed energy works in 235 projects. And again, just to what does that mean in reality? Well, we've helped communities and building owners and homeowners save over €4 million on their energy bills over that 5-year period. And we did that with the help from SEAI of over €8 million worth of grants. So that's a bit of what we've done in the past. What we're doing this year, the 2021 grant program. So we have 5 energy community grant applications on the go. We're currently working on the delivery of 66 non-domestic projects and 60 houses across those 5 applications. The total investment cost, we're delivering over 4.7 million euro worth of projects. And again, the SEAI have awarded our projects 2.45 million euro worth of grant to assist in the delivery of those projects. And again, from our point of view, the Energy Agency, the main aim for us obviously is to help you and help the region reduce energy consumption. So what that means is the projects that we're delivering this year will save over 4 gigawatt hours of energy. So those are the projects that we're working on this year. And now again, we want to look ahead to next year. So again, as I mentioned there at the start, we are expecting the launch of the 2022 grant programme to be imminent. The 5 and the applications that we're delivering this year and in previous years, we work in partnership with the 4 local authorities in the Southeast. So we are the Southeast Energy Agency. So we, as I said, work directly with Waterford, Wexford, Carlow and Kilkenny. We have in the past, and some of you may well know, and some of you may have worked with us on the past on other applications in other regions across the country. We have also and do work with Wicklow County Council. One of our BEC applications this year is with Wicklow applications. So we have projects up around the Wicklow area, and also the Midlands, Laois, Longford, Westmeath, and who did I miss there? Awfully sorry, are the four Midland local authorities. And again, we have a BEC application in this year, as we have in past years, with Laois County Council, so we have projects in that area. We predominantly work in the southeast, but if there are projects that we can group in other areas, we also work in partnership with other local authorities. Just throughout the presentation today, which I expect to be about maybe half an hour, 40 minutes or so, and then a questions and answers. We've just got a couple of questions, a couple of polls for you to answer. So Mary is just going to put up the first poll there. So again, first question there is what sector do you represent? So we'll just leave it up for about 30 seconds, and that's just to give me an idea of who we're speaking to today. Are we speaking to homeowners? Are we speaking to communities, public sector buildings there I can see. So please, if you could just give me an idea of who we're talking today, that would be great. We'll just leave that up for another few seconds. So that's good. There's a mix across everybody, which is great, and you'll understand the importance of that as I go through the presentation or through the slides. So that's good. So we've got a good chunk of community SECs. The Sustainable Energy Communities is what the SEC stands for those of you who don't know. We've got about a quarter of you are homeowners, public sector and commercial SMEs. Perfect. So we've got a good mix of everybody across all the sectors there. So that's great. Thanks very much for that, Mary. So I'll get rid of that. So thank you for that. And we'll understand the importance of that when we talk about what is the energy community grant program. So it's the SEAI funded grant program, and it's a group application. It's a group grant program. Okay, so each of the applications has to have a mix of projects across the public sector, community, businesses, SMEs, housing, etc. So it's a group application, a community application, aimed at bringing aggregating and bringing larger number of projects together. So you as an individual business or community cannot apply through this grant program on your own. You need to come to what's called a group application, and we apply for all of the projects together as a group. Who is eligible? So everybody is eligible. Okay, so if you use energy and you want to save energy and deliver an energy saving project, then you are eligible to apply for grants under this program. In general, we work with communities, sports clubs, churches, creches, hotels, offices, businesses, local authorities, obviously, and the public sector, schools, healthcare. So anyone who uses energy and wants to deliver an energy saving program is eligible under this grant program. Now, the information I'm giving you today, the official launch from SEAI hasn't happened yet. We were expecting it to have happened. We've heard it is imminent, but it's not exactly there. So some of the figures and details I'm going to give you today I'm basing on the last few years where the scheme has run. So some of the details may well change, but in general, the process is going to be the same. So again, last year, and the reason we have, you may be sitting there going, why have you got 5 applications in? Because there is a maximum grant that you can apply for on one application. Okay, so the maximum grant that you can apply for on an application is €2 million, or that was in 2021. As I said, some of these may slightly change what in the new 2022 program is launched, but right now this is the information we have. There's also a minimum amount of grant that you can apply for, again, hence the group application. So there's a minimum of €100,000 worth of grant. So if you have a project and you're looking for €20,000 worth of grant, well, then you need to partner with other projects to bring the overall grant of that application up to 100,000. So hence the group application. For your individual project, there is no minimum grant. Okay. And that's why, excuse me, that's why we group all of the projects together to make sure that the grant terms and conditions are met. There's a maximum of 50% of the overall application. Okay, and what that means is that there's a different amounts of grant is awarded and eligible to different groups. I'll go through that in a bit more detail on the next slide. But what it means is that we have to balance out the application so that not everybody on the application, for example, is going to get the 85% grant funding that may be available to some. So we have to balance out the projects and balance out the spread of projects across the sectors and across the amounts to make sure that there's a 50% funding per application. Once the application is awarded and projects are delivered, and very important to point out from the very start that all projects, you pay, if you're awarded grant, you pay for the full project up front and you get a refund of the grant. So you pay for the work, you do the project with your contractor, get the work complete, you pay the contractor 100% up front. We submit everything to SEAI. If everything passes, which touch wood, it has in the past, we have not lost grant for anybody to date, then the SEAI refund you that grant. So just to be aware that there is and can be a cash flow element to the grant program, because you do pay 100%, you do pay for the full project and receive the grant back. But there is also a 10% retention of the projects, okay? So if it's a large scale project of over €150,000, there is 10% of the grant that is withheld. And it's withheld for a period of up to 12 months until we can prove that the energy savings that we said we were going to save have been saved, okay? And that's called through a process called measurement and verification. And again, I'll talk about a little bit about that later. But basically what happens is we've applied to the SEAI to say we are going to do this energy saving project. We're going to save X amount of kilowatt hours by doing this project. The SEAI have awarded you grant to do that. They then want to make sure, well, that yes, that is what we have saved. We have saved that energy by delivering this project. And we come along, that's again our role in the energy agency. We come along and prove that those savings have been made. Once we prove that, then that extra 10% of the grant is paid out. So what is the percentage of the grant available? So again, what I mentioned there a few minutes ago is that there's different levels of grant depending on what sector and what kind of project you have. So firstly, there's the community element of it. Okay, so the community element, there is funding of between 30 and 50% for community buildings. Okay, this used to be, I'm going to say clearer, it used to be 50% funding for communities. That had changed in 2021, and we expect that to still be the case in 2022. So it varies between 30 to 50% for community facilities. Okay, there again are guidelines by the SEAI as to which community building is eligible for 50% and which community facilities are not eligible. In general, and again, they take this on a case-by-case basis, which makes it a little bit harder for us to tell you exactly. But in general, if your community building has a commercial aspect to it, for example, if you're a sports club and you have a bar on the site, then that's counted as a commercial aspect to your community building, and therefore you will be eligible for 30%, not the 50%. Again, there's a list of documentation that we would require. We go to SEAI before the application is submitted and we say, this is a community group, please confirm with us, will we get the 30 or can we apply for the 30 or 50%? So that's in terms of communities. The private sector, so your SMEs, any commercial or businesses, your private sector businesses and SMEs are eligible for 30% of funding. So that's the maximum eligible they can get is 30% funding. And sorry, the 30% funding is also for local authorities. So local authorities and the private sector, SMEs, etc., are eligible for 30%. Again, I mentioned a few minutes ago the different grant funding that is eligible, and I mentioned up to 80 or 85%, and this is what I meant by that. So there are different values of funding available for the domestic upgrades, so for your houses. So I think from the poll there, I think there's about about a quarter of you on the call today looking at or here to talk about or wanting to find out information about the housing upgrades. So if you're a local authority housing, so the local authorities, their own housing stock are being upgraded and retrofitted, there's 35% grant funding. If you are a housing association, so Clwyd, Tynton, Brothers of Charity, etc., we've worked with in the past. So if you're a registered housing association, then there is 50% grant funding for your housing. There are then the private, what we call the private domestic sector, the private homes, and there are two categories for here. And this is determined as non-fuel poor or fuel poor, okay? And there's a category for both. If you are a private non-fuel poor homeowner, then you are eligible for up to 35% grant funding. If you are a private fuel poor homeowner, then you are eligible for up to 80% grant. Whether or not you are fuel poor or not, there are conditions that would state whether you are fuel poor. In general, it's if you receive a fuel supplement or allowance from the social welfare. If you receive some kind of fuel payment, then you would be considered as fuel poor and eligible for the 80%. If anybody, again, separately or outside this or want to know more about that, then you can contact us after today. So that's the different grant funding that's available depending on the sector. And again, it's very important to point out that this is a group application and it's a partnership, okay? And there's various members to this partnership that needed to be involved. Okay, so it is a group application. The lead applicant, and again, I mentioned earlier, we partner with the local authorities. So what the lead applicant is the person who is actually applying to the SEAI on behalf of the group. Okay, and it's their name that is going on as the lead applicant. We are applying. And that lead applicant is also the person who gets the grant paid to them. So when in our cases, the lead applicants are the local authorities. So if you are a Waterford-based project, you will go on the Waterford City and County Council led application. If you are a community or an SME in County Kilkenny somewhere, then you will be placed on the application that is led by Kilkenny County Council. So that they're the lead applicants. They are the ones, we put the application together in partnership with them, but they apply, it's in their name. Kilkenny County Council, as the example, is applying to SEAI for the grant. When it's awarded, when everything is completed, the grant is paid from SEAI to the lead applicant. And again, we work with the local authority to say, okay, well, this amount of the grant goes to this person and this amount of the grant goes to that person. So there's the breakdown there. So that's the lead applicant. The next member is the project coordinator. So that's ourselves in Three Counties Energy Agency. We are the project coordinator, and we are the ones that pull together all of your projects and put them onto the separate applications that we work on, make sure that that balance is right. And I'll talk a little bit later about how we do that and why we do it, because there's quite specific evaluation criteria from the SEAI on what they are looking for. So that's, again, our role. We also will help you deliver the project. We can project manage your projects, make sure that the contractors are there, the specifications are there, what the contractors are delivering for you is the correct work, up to the correct standards, and in line with the grant terms and conditions. We will do the site inspections, etc. And most importantly, we are the main liaison with SEAI. So throughout the whole 6-9 month process, we are in constant communication with the SEAI on your behalf to make sure that that everything is going well. We will then submit the payment claim and the what we call the completion documents to say, yes, this project is completed, yes, it has been paid for, here are the documents, and this is the grant we're looking back. So that's called the payment claim documentation. So we submit all of that at the end. And work with SEAI to make sure that the grant is paid out to the lead applicant, and then we work with the lead applicant to make sure that the grant is paid out. And then lastly, and most importantly, is the beneficiary, and that is you. So anybody who's doing a project and looking for a grant is called a beneficiary. So you are benefiting from the grant program, you're benefiting from the works, and you're benefiting from the grant program. So you're what the SEAI have termed a beneficiary. And the beneficiary has to be a mix, as I mentioned already. So there's partnership across the public, private, community, domestic sectors. So we look for projects across this spectrum of partners. The last one there I'm going to mention is the participating energy supplier. Okay, so again, this is part of the application. We need to have a participating energy supplier on the application. And again, that's something we as the project coordinator look after. And I'm just going to talk briefly about the participating energy supplier, just for those of you who don't know. So for every energy project that you do, you save energy, and that is called, you deliver an energy credit. Okay, so if you change a light bulb from 100 watts down to a 12 watt LED bulb, we're saving energy, and that energy is assigned what we call an energy credit. There's actually European-wide energy efficiency obligation scheme. It's the EOS scheme. Okay, and in Ireland there are a number of what we call participating energy suppliers, and it's those participating energy suppliers who are obliged under the European directive to save energy. Okay, and it's the way they save energy is they trade in energy credits. Okay, so all of the projects that we deliver across the BEC, we trade those energy credits with the participating energy supplier who offers us the most money. It's a monetary value that they assign to the energy credits. Okay, what that means is that there's an additional payment. So for your project, there can be an additional payment for your project. In 3CEA, we have an energy credit policy. And again, this is part of our application and working in partnership with the local authorities. So the communities and the domestic projects, the fuel poor domestic projects will always get the full amount of their energy credits. What we also look at is we work with the local authorities and the SMEs to donate their energy credits to the other projects, to the community projects and the fuel poor projects. And what this is, again shows partnership across the application, that all of the SMEs and public sector bodies who are delivering their projects are assisting the community and domestic projects to be completed by donating their energy credits. Again, these energy credits then are verified 12 months later, and that's the process I mentioned to you earlier, the measurement and verification it's called, and that's usually occurs 12 months after, and that's when we can prove that the savings have been made, then the additional 10% grant is paid out. So here's a question: do you need to act? Who on the call is I think we've all seen pictures. Hopefully these pictures are getting a little bit less common, but certainly I'm sure. Well, I certainly remember my college days living in homes where you'd open the windows and they were streaming down with water. So are your energy bills too high? These are questions to ask yourself. If you've got yes to any of these, then we suggest that you've probably got an energy project. So are your energy bills very high? Is your building cold or damp? Is the light poor in your buildings? Is it drafty? Is it cold and drafty? Is there condensation and mold problems? Do staff or members of your family are they complaining of being cold? You know, at the end of the day, are we all sitting there hugging the radiator as that picture is showing? If the answer is yes to any of those questions, then we would suggest that you've probably got an energy project that you can deliver. Again, a few more questions to ask yourself. Do you have at least 300 millimeters of attic insulation up in your attic? Whether that's your office or your home or any building, do you have at least 300 mil of attic insulation? Again, many people may have topped up their attic or, you know, done their attic insulation, completed their attic insulation. You know, in the past 5, 6, 7, 8 years ago, whenever it was, the standards for attic insulation has increased, and now we're putting 300 to 400 mil of attic insulation. Are your walls insulated? Do you need to pump your cavities? Do you have external wall insulation that you put on? Is your boiler older than 8 years? This is a rule of thumb. That's not saying that every boiler that's over 8 years is out of date or inefficient. But again, this is depending on the boiler type. It's a rule of thumb that we use. Roughly, is your boiler over 8 years old? Do you have heating and zone controls? So you might have a nice new energy efficient boiler, but are you controlling it correctly? And do you have zone controls? Do you have TRVs, the thermostatic radiator valves on your radiators? So each of the rooms is being controlled. Do you need to draft proof your building? Is it drafty? Do you have single glazed windows? So again, those are just some of the questions. If you've got yes to any of those questions, then I would suggest that you've got an energy saving project that would be eligible for grant. So eligible measures or upgrades. So any project that you are doing in your building or in your home that is going to save energy is eligible for a grant. So again, we've just mentioned a few here. So your building fabric is what we call, that's what your building is made of. It's your bricks, your walls, your floors, your doors, your windows, your roof. That is what we call the building fabric. And you know, your insulations of your windows and your doors, that's all eligible for grant through this program. Integration of renewable energy. So again, if you want to look at renewables, either solar thermal on your roof or PV or a heat pump, etc., biomass boilers, those are all eligible for grant. And apologies, this is a mistake now. Energy efficient lighting in 2022. I should have removed this. Energy efficient lighting is no longer eligible for grant under this program from 2022 onwards. Okay, so if you did have a lighting upgrade in mind, unfortunately, through this program, that there is no grant available. Heat recovery systems, microgeneration, smart metering, EV chargers. We've put in a lot of EV chargers now over the last couple of years. So those are the kind of projects, but that's by no means the end of the list. Any project that you are doing that will save energy is eligible. So how do you get involved? So you've answered those questions to yourself. Yep, I think I've got an energy efficient program or project that we can deliver in our building or in our home. How do I get involved? Excuse me. So there's an expression of interest on our website, and the link is there. So please go and you'll find more details. For all of the energy applications, you need to have an energy audit. So I'm just going to spend 2 minutes talking about energy audits. So for any upgrade in a non-domestic building, you need to have an energy upgrade. If you're doing upgrades in your home, you need to have a BER cert, okay? I'm not going to go into too much detail specifically about the housing today, because we'll have a separate webinar. But on the non-domestic side, you need to have an energy audit of your building. So again, just a quick poll there, please, Mary. If you wouldn't mind asking the question, how many of you are ready for upgrades? In a sense, how many of you already have an energy audit completed and are ready to go ahead for grant, or how many of you don't, and you're here to learn? So just a quick few seconds there, please. A good 80% of you don't have an energy audit, okay, and 20% of you or so do. So that's great. So if you don't have an energy audit at this stage, that's okay. You still have time to get one, okay? And we'll just go on. There are currently two schemes that we're running, that are available to you for an energy audit. So 3CA, we're working on a European project called CANCAP. It's the Climate Active Neighbourhoods, CANCAP. And we're currently offering some free energy audits for SMEs. So if you're an SME, works in an office block, if you work in a food shop or a convenience shop or supermarkets, if you're a nursing home or if you're manufacturing, you may be entitled to a free energy audit through the CANCAP program. Again, I'm not going to talk too much detail. The link is there on the slide. If you feel that you're an SME that falls into one of those 4 categories, please go onto the website and fill out the form. And you may be eligible for a free energy audit, and we can come and we'll contact you and arrange an energy audit. The SEAI also have the SME support scheme for energy audits, the SSEA. And what the SEAI are doing, they're offering it, or they're giving €2,000 voucher towards the cost of an audit. Okay, so energy audits vary in price depending on your building type, your building size, etc. So the SEAI are giving up to €2,000 towards the cost of an energy audit. Okay, It's for SMEs and businesses. Businesses applying to the scheme, and this is the 4 criteria for you to be eligible. You have to be a non-obligated entity. I'll talk a little bit more about that in a second. You need to be tax compliant. You need to be registered in the Republic of Ireland. And most importantly, you need to have an energy bill of more than €10,000 per year. So if you are an SME and you have an energy bill, you know you're spending more on your electricity and your heating, all of your energy bills together of more than €10,000 per year, then you can apply to SEAI for €2,000 energy audit. The non-obligated entity, what that means is there are certain entities that are obliged to have an energy audit under statutory instrument 426, so SI 426. So for example, large companies, large energy users, large industrial energy users, and also the public sector. So there are certain parties who are obliged under SI 426 to have, they're mandated to have their buildings audited, okay? If you are not, which is SMEs in this category, then you are what is called a non-obligated entity. So you will be eligible for the scheme. Again, there's lots more detail on that link there. It's the SEAI link. And the details on how to apply for that €2,000 voucher towards your cost, towards your audit cost is there. The audit has to be completed by a registered energy auditor. And again, that list of registered energy auditors is on the SEAI website. So those are 2 particular programs right now that are available. If you don't have an energy audit and you think that one of those schemes is an option for you, then I suggest you go through one of those routes. If you don't fall into one of those categories and you still need an energy audit, then as I mentioned already, there is a list of registered energy auditors on the SEAI website. We always recommend that you get 3 to 5 quotes. So go and ask 3 to 5 auditors for a quote for an energy audit for your building. 3CEA, of course, can complete your energy audit. So if you would like us to complete your energy audit, please come to us and we can provide a quote for you. We have a number of registered energy auditors, myself included, on the SEAI list, but we can provide you with a quote for an energy audit. So please also come to us. You do not need to be part of our application and to be part of the local authorities application. You do not need, it does not need to be a 3CEA completed energy audit. Okay, so you can just to put that out there, it doesn't have to be, but please do come to us if you want us to help you with your energy audit. And again, I'm conscious of time, so I'm just going to fly through a few of these slides. This is an indicative time frame, okay? Again, because the program hasn't officially been launched by SEAI, this may well change, okay? But we are expecting the applications to open around November of this year, and we expect them to, we would certainly be hoping to have our applications in around January of 2022. Okay, so that means you have between now and January 2022 to go and get your energy audit completed. Okay, for those of you who don't have an energy audit, you have to have an energy audit completed to be part of the application. In general, again, these dates may change, but in general, if we put in an application in January, it usually takes 2 to 3 months for the evaluation process to take place by SEAI, and it has to go to the SEAI board to get sign off. Then we are issued what's called the letter of offer. That is the grant award. So that is the letter that comes from SEAI to say, yes, your application has been successful. This is your grant. This is what you have been offered in terms of grant. That is when the work can commence. You cannot commence grant work before the letter of offer has been issued. Okay, it makes it ineligible for grant if you have started that work beforehand. Okay. You then get depending on when that letter of offer comes in and when the deadline is, you get 4 to 6 months to complete the works. Again, we will assist you through that whole process in terms of specification, procurement, project management on site, inspections, quality assurance, getting the documentation and payments made, and then obviously submit to SEAI by. And again, this is a guess, and this may well change, but again, going on this year's deadline is the middle of October. The deadline for the last few years has been the middle of October 2022. That may well change. And then again, I mentioned already the measurement and verification that goes on the previous year. That's a very rough timeline, but just to give you an idea of the timelines that we're talking about. Just another quick poll then, please, Mary. keep everybody on their toes. What sort of upgrades? Are there any upgrades that you have in mind for those of you who have energy audits completed already? Do you have projects that you know that you're going to be delivering this year? And for those of you who don't have your energy audit, are there any that you have an idea of what kind of projects is it that we're looking at? Great. Again, I'm just looking at the results here, and there's a good mix, a bit of everything going on there, which is good. So again, just to point out, the SEAI grants and indeed our own philosophy in the Energy Agency is building fabric first. So if you have a building that is uninsulated, for example, no attic or wall insulation, you've got single glazed windows, and you come looking for a grant for renewable energy for putting PV up on the roof, that will not be funded. Okay, so the SEAI always look for a building fabric approach first. Excuse me, heating systems upgrade, electrical systems upgrade, and then your PV, that or renewable. So that in general is the order that you should deliver projects in, and that will be outlined, or should certainly be outlined, in your energy audit as well. But certainly from an SEAI point of view, they won't fund a renewable project only if you haven't done anything else in the building. So just to give you that information as well. Perfect. Thanks for that, Mary. So that's good. That's just giving everybody an idea. We've got a good range of projects there. I'm going to fly through this very quickly, and really it's just to give you an idea of the evaluation. So there's very clear criteria from SEAI as to how the applications are evaluated and what projects grant is awarded to. It is a competitive process. Okay, there is a set budget every year. Budget days coming up, so we'll know that exact figure. For example, it was 23 million in 2020 for projects. It is based on a first come first serve basis. So the earlier you get your application in, and if you pass evaluation, then you will get funded. Okay, but the evaluation process is quite, I'm going to say, strict, but it's also quite clear. It's very clear, and this is why we, as the project coordinator, we pool all of the applications together, and we match the projects to best suit the application. So ideally, we want all of the Waterford projects together on Waterford for Waterford City and County Council. Same for Carlow, same for Kilkenny, same for Wexford. That's how we work. However, we are also the regional energy agency, and when we need to balance the projects to make sure we hit that evaluation criteria, we will do that. So again, I'm not going to go, these slides will be sent on to you, but it's not really something you need to worry about too much. That's what we worry about. We worry about where we're going to get the marks. Community and partnership approach there, you can see. So, you know, the partnership and community between ourselves, between the participating energy suppliers, between you as community and SME and public sector groups, that's key. And there's a 35% of the marks there. Value for money, of course, how much energy are we going to save? How much of the project is going to cost? So those are all the kind of things. Partnership is key. There's a few from the poll at the start there. I think a few of the SECs or sustainable energy communities on the call today. So again, if you are a registered sustainable energy community, or if you can show that partnership within your community, then there's extra marks available for that. Again, then public sector needs to be involved, but also there is a mandatory requirement for housing. Okay, so again, that there are marks given. If we have an application where there are no houses, then we won't even be evaluated. Okay, and then depending on the type of houses and number of houses, then you get scored. So again, not something that you need to worry about. That's something we worry about, but I just want to make you aware. Sometimes somebody will come to us very early with a project and wonder why we haven't submitted them on the first application that went in. And that's because we have to balance the projects to make sure that the evaluation criteria is hit. Just to put you at ease, we have been awarded grant for all the applications we've submitted. We've never lost grant for anybody, so we're good at this balancing act. So please don't worry about it. But that could be the reason why sometimes you know, you might not be on the first application, but that's why, because we're balancing the projects to make sure that we're hitting the evaluation criteria. As I said, it's a first come first served basis, and SEAI do put this type of tracker on their system. Okay, so there is a budget, and every week they update this tracker. Okay, so it's the SEAI Tracker, and they tell you how much budget is available. And this gives us a little bit of knowledge as to, okay, we have another week. There's 35% in this particular example, 35% of the budget left. We've got another week to go until we can submit the application, etc., etc. So again, we keep an eye on that, but it's just to make you aware that that's the process. I think we're almost there. One or two slides left, and we can start and get a few questions. So the documents required from you: energy audit. Okay, so if you have an energy audit, you need to have your energy audit. But the other things that you need to have also, you need to have a VAT letter from revenue to confirm your VAT status. If you're an SME or a commercial company and you claim your VAT back, you are not eligible for grant on the VAT. So the VAT letter from the revenue in general is required for the community and not-for-profit and public sector projects who cannot claim their VAT back from revenue. Okay, so there is a letter, we have a template, we can give it to you, and revenue just stamp it. You need to have a declaration of your financial resources. So if you are applying for a grant for a project, for example, that's going to cost €50,000 and you want to get €20,000 back from SEAI and grant, well, you need to, as I mentioned before, you pay up front for the project. So the SEAI want to know that you have that financial resource to do so before they offer you the grant. So there's just, again, a declaration of financial resources to say, yes, we can afford the project. Tax clearance certs, your tax clearance numbers, and again, your access numbers. So again, that's all something that you need to provide to us at application stage. Confirmation of whether you're a community or not-for-profit, etc. There is a default I mentioned earlier of 30%. If you think that you are eligible for 50%, we go to SEAI with the required documentation and apply for the 50% grant. Letter of support. So if you are part of a sustainable energy community, as I mentioned through the evaluation stage there are extra marks awarded for a sustainable energy community. So we just need a letter from your sustainable energy community to say, yes, this project is part of the SEC. And I mentioned already the energy audit and technical report. So that's all of the documentations that you require. We're middle of September. We're hoping to submit kind of December, January, if not sooner. So those are the kind of documents that you need to come to us with if you want to be part of the application. Very quickly now, just two quick examples. Kilteely Community Hall, completed in 2018, 2019. Major works, boiler upgrade. There was a heating systems upgrade. We did the attic and the wall insulations, new windows, and a lighting upgrade. So building fabric first, attic, wall, and windows. Then the heating system, and then the electrical systems, which in this case was lighting. So the total cost of the works there was over €80,000, and they got 50% grant from the SEAI. Their savings, they've saved a quarter of their energy bills by doing the works there. The building is completely transformed. I know because I've been down there. We've had a few events down there, and the community are absolutely delighted with the works that's gone on in the building. Another example there, Port Arlington Leisure Centre, so one of the public sector buildings, major pump and air handling unit upgrades down there. Again, BMS systems to make sure that the controls are all working, because again, you can have the best system, but if you're not controlling it properly. So again, there was 50% funding for Port Arlington Leisure Centre there. Total cost of the works was over 130,000, and they received 66,000, and the savings are associated. So that's just a couple of quick examples of, but again, any building that uses energy, that wants to save energy, is eligible for a grant through this programme. So thanks very much.